your brother now, I have to say. Ridiculous amount of the truth that's put out. We get like the different like this on YouTube now.
Like last week we had the guy on it, you know, the liability of the bathroom.
Petition. Your turn. Yes, you can. That'll probably make it better. Julian Assange, stand up for the truth. Stand up against government corruption, war crimes.
Democracy needs a free press. Julian Assange is being charged for journalistic activity. He's being charged under an Espionage Act from 1917. It's a criminal abuse of the law. We need to stand up or forever lie down.
Well, Julian's in jail, we're all in jail. Award-winning journalist Julian Assange. Journalism's not a crime.
Okay, I'm here with Gabriel Shipton, Julian's brother. He's come to join us here at Town Hall, and I'm going to ask him about a movie that's, I believe, receiving a world premiere today. Can you tell me, Gabriel, about this this movie? How do we pronounce it?
Ithaca.
Ithaca.
Yeah, like it's named after the poem by Cavalfi. It's a good poem. You should check it out. There's a great reading by Sean Connery on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out.
The sort of idea for Ithaca came about, in 2019 I went to see Julian in the prison, and he was on suicide watch at that time, which I didn't know. But I left the prison that day feeling like that, I wouldn't see him again. I'd never seen him like that before over the years. He was, he'd lost so much weight. He was very distressed, and I'd never seen him, like that before. And that's when I started thinking about it. How can we get a different message out? And sort of change, just get a different message. People know Julian through the media headlines and things like that. So we decided with Ithaca, how can we tell a personal story, a humanistic side to the story of Julian and his persecution. And that's, so we started following John on his sort of odyssey, travelling around the world, advocating for Julian. We shot with John for 2 years, in Europe, UK, Australia, the USA, as he travelled all around the world. We just followed John and telling that story, a father's fight for his son. So that's the core message. The premise, the core premise of the film is a father fighting for his son, and that's that the sort of humanistic angle of the film that everybody can understand.
Yeah, Julian is a part of a family.
Yes, that's
part
right.
of a human family rather than as this.
Yeah, and so that's the sort of, that's how we want people to understand Julian as a son, as a brother, as a father, which has been, he's
sadly forgotten.
Yeah, that's right.
He's been dehumanised.
Yeah, that's right. And also we get to see behind the scenes, like what it's like for somebody to, wake up day in, day out and sort of fight against the biggest adversary on the planet.
How does he do it?
Well, I think that's another part of the movie is, how do people, you guys have been here for 100,
but we go home to our comfortable beds.
But I think that's the one of the messages is in the film is, what drives people in their activism and what pushes people forward to do something, to fight for what they believe in. And I think, that's the sort of underlying message, and I hope people come away from the film understanding that the power lies, the power lies with us.
Yes. Well, I know Julian depends on us. As he said, without us, he's gone. He's off the agenda. The mainstream media either ignore him, or worse still, they smear him. There's no support whatsoever. And it always amazes me, his courage. I mean, you must be so proud to have this guy as a brother.
Oh God, I mean, Julian's strength. I mean, I don't think anybody else in the world could have survived this. Julian is so strong and so determined. Yeah, that's right. And he's a great. It's like to be someone to look up to. Great example for us all.
No, he is a true hero. He's a true hero. He's fantastic individual. And something for the rest of the world to latch onto. When we, as we introduce people to the real Julian, to watch them change from, someone who thought that, maybe he's a bit of a dodgy character, to the fact that he's not a dodgy character at all. In fact,
it's not these people's fault, they're sort of, it's incessant, this the attacks on Julian from within the media, the headlines, it's just non-stop. And it's up to us to create a different story, tell the real story. And if we go and do it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And we've been really fortunate. We've got the backing of the Sydney Film Festival.
Let's talk about the movie. So the movie is world premiere.
Yeah, world premiere Sunday, 7th of November at the Ritz.
Randwick Ritz in Sydney.
5:30 p.m.
Australia.
Yeah, tickets are selling, but there's still some left. So get down there.
A momentous event, really something to be part of.
Yeah, and the Sydney Film Festival are backing this film, and I think that's a huge message. That there's not, Australia. We're backing a different side of the story now. Sydney Film Festival is getting behind this. I think I don't know if you guys feel it down here, but
yes, we do.
There's the momentum is building, and the political climate for Julian to be released is really developing.
It's right. I think it is. Do you feel that way? Do you feel that?
Yeah. I feel
is it my eternal optimism?
I feel the momentum building. Like we've got all these dominoes,
lined up.
Dominoes, and they just keep falling. Nils Melzer, 2019. Julian's being tortured. UN calls out the torture. Swedish charges evaporate. No evidence. January 2020, extradition rejected.
Yeah, that was enormous.
Yeah, and then in June, key witness of the US prosecution.
Another enormous revelation.
Well,
basically the whole CIA case has been exposed.
And then the CIA. And so, we're just getting, the dominoes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually, it's all just going to...
And the British legal system is ultimately what's on trial. Would you agree?
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's what I often say. Julian's persecution is another revelation, you know, at every point along the way. You know, Swedish prosecuting service, Crown prosecuting service, UK judiciary, the Australian DFAC, you know, they've all been exposed and manipulated, and that all has to be looked at through this CIA story as well. You know? That's who's behind this, that's who's pushing this.
Oh, absolutely.
And they've been able to corrupt all our institutions, you know, and you know, just the confidence in democracy is evaporating.
Yeah.
And we need
Well,
to...
our democracy is evaporating.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they're attacking Julian. I mean, from my point of view, he's the scapegoat for free media. And the message is, you know, you expose our crimes and you'll be treated like Julian.
Yeah.
So, you know, they don't actually want him in America, they just want him to suffer.
That's right. Yeah.
Wherever.
Move him from country to country,
Yeah.
you know, keep him in prison.
Yeah.
You know, send him broke with all his legal things.
Yeah.
You know, drain all the support. Yeah, he's
No, well,
very strong. He's very principled.
Yeah. He's worked with the Victorian police in the 90s, you know, exposing pedophiles. No, he's a very principled, highly principled man.
Yeah, and I think that's often lost, you know, that...
And this idea that he's a narcissist, I mean, that is the most ridiculous description you could put on a man like Julian Assange, who's lost 10 years.
That's all smears and distractions from the crimes that have been exposed, right? Like that's what we should really be looking at.
Well,
not
that's
Julian's
next.
personality, not any of that stuff. It's all irrelevant. You know, what is relevant is the revelations of WikiLeaks, what Julian's persecution has exposed. You know, everything else is like a distraction.
Absolutely, distraction of the world. Okay, now once this movie's come out and been released, does it go on to further screenings?
Yes, so we'll have we'll have a festival run here.
Yep.
We'll have a theatrical release in Australia early next year.
Yep.
So like March, April, around then.
Yes.
And then we're working on locking in a international festival premiere as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So yeah, we're pushing, getting, you know, using it as a rallying point for people.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's
and to shift public opinion. Right?
Yes.
Julian as a human being.
Yeah. Just tell a side of the story that hasn't been told. You know, that's not. You know, we steal secrets. This, you know, all these films that have come out.
Well, the worst one.
Smear Julian.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Four Corners did a two-part extra.
Oh yeah, hero or villain. Yeah.
Shocking. I mean, just shocking.
Yeah, shocking.
Propaganda.
Yeah. Just to put Julian's personality on trial.
Yeah. And they now still talk about where he should be incarcerated, not about whether or not he's innocent.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You know, it's about he can be incarcerated in Australia.
Yeah, which is just a total red herring. Like,
well, as though it's a gift.
Yeah. At what point? You know,
but
by the time he gets sent here, he'll be in his 60s.
Yeah.
Like, you know, his life will be over. Like, you know. It's
okay. Well, look, thank you very much for turning up today and coming to join us.
Good.
And
thank you guys. I mean, like, you know, everyone here.
Yeah.
You know, it's
No, well, we feel very honoured that you've come and joined us today, and we'll be there at the theatre.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we're going to bring our banners and
great.
microphones.
Yeah. No, it should be a good crew.
Yeah.
We'll have a good bit of fun. Yeah.
So thank you, Gabriel.
No, thanks.
Right.
Good. Peace.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Thanks. People send him stuff to WriteJulian from WriteJulian.com.
Matt emailed him often.
Yeah. And so he's always getting like pictures and tweets. Yeah. That keeps him going. Thank you so much.
See him soon.
Yes, thank you.
Walkley Award-winning journalist. He's alright, I like him, he's alright. No, you're alright. I was going to tell you,
It's a bit.
Good on you, mate. Hey, Gabriel. My name's Matthew.
Hey, Matthew.
Yeah, nice to meet you, mate.
Good,
Sure.
good to meet you too.
It's an honour. How is Julian going? Have you spoken to him or anything like that?
No, I haven't spoken to him, but you know, I saw him on the court when I dialed into the court last week.
Yeah.
He wasn't looking.
No, he wasn't.
Wasn't looking very well.
No, he wasn't, mate. 100%. So, it's terrible, mate.
Yeah.
We're doing our best, mate.
Pretty tough to.
Yeah, it would be, mate. Sorry, mate. Yeah, it's horrible.
Imprisoning journalists! Imprisoning journalists, how outrageous! It's tyranny! Compulsory medical treatments without informed consent. It's tyranny! It's about time we started realising we're being betrayed.
Julian Assange is an Australian journalist, publisher and activist. He had an idea to set up a platform to allow whistleblowers to send details of crimes and corruptions of government and big business in complete anonymity to protect sources. Julian had told his father that he wanted to set up a wiki for whistleblowers. A wiki is a server software that allows users to freely create and edit web pages using any web browser. WikiLeaks was set up in 2006. US Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning came across war crimes that she was unable to keep to herself. It was her obligation and her duty to report the crimes. She had tried various avenues and kept hitting brick walls until she came to WikiLeaks. Among documents was a video that showed the US military gunning down a group of civilians, including Reuters journalists. When Good Samaritans came to assist, they were also killed, and the children in their van were severely injured. The US Apache helicopter crew were heard laughing and treating the incident like a computer game rather than the death of innocents. Stephen Colbert, in an interview with Assange in April 2010, asked him about the title. You have edited this tape and you have given it a title called Collateral Murder. That is not leaking, that's pure editorial. Assange responded, the promise we make to our sources is not only that we will defend them through every means that we have, technologically, legally, politically, but we will try and get the maximum possible political impact for the material they have given us. Colbert asked, so collateral murder is to get a political impact? Assange responded, yes, absolutely. Our promise to the public is that we will release the full source material. So if people have a different opinion, the full material is there for them to analyse and assess. The US is trying to criminalise journalism, true journalism. The journalism we have come to know from greats like John Pilger, Mark Davis, Andrew Fowler, and so many others. Not the journalism we see today from the pretty faces on the morning news or the honey-toned voices on the radio. Scott Morrison needs to stand up to the US and stand up for Julian Assange. Albanese needs to stop pussyfooting around the issue and stand up for Julian. Australia is not the lapdog of the US. We are a proud and independent nation. It would make me ashamed to imagine that our leaders would be too cowardly to do the right thing. The right thing is to demand the charges be dropped and Julian be freed. Free Julian Assange.
Free Julian Assange.
Free the truth.
It's only one decision.
No extradition.
Free.
Julian Assange. one decision.
No extradition.
No inquisition.
How did we come to this point where we are standing up for a journalist who's imprisoned literally for telling the truth? And why is that so important to us? And I actually think from the polls and the data that I've seen, it's actually important to a lot of people. It's just that it's even more important to us, the people who gather here each week, because we understand how important it is for the long term. So Karen and I were talking, and we were talking about how did we start forming the view that things were so wrong and why it was so important that we needed publishers like Julian to tell the truth. And it was interesting because we both discovered we had something in common, and that was that we both had worked as investigators. And I'd done that for quite a while, and Karen had done it for a shorter period. And we both discussed how analysing things from different angles and breaking something down and putting it back together in your mind, which is what's necessary as an investigator, when you start applying those same ideas and those same principles of deconstructing a narrative or deconstructing representations, when you apply that on a larger scale to the news, to the corporate media, and to the people who rule us, then it's you really get an insight into how different things are from what the representations are that are made in the media and by the politicians. And I mean, it's a good example is what's just happened in the media this week, where poor old ScoMo's been caught out. I think it's pretty clear that people are saying he's being dishonest, or not, certainly at the very least not being fully transparent, and that's a pretty good example. It's just that we're not always confronted with that truth directly. We're not always confronted with those facts directly, and so a lot of people don't get the opportunity to break down those narratives in the way that we did, because Karen and I were trained or practiced in testing each statement to determine whether it's correct in the context of our jobs in investigating. And then when we apply that to the broader truths or the broader narratives that are spoken in our society about, things like sanctions, which is something that I find particularly abhorrent. It's completely unnecessary. There are plenty of regimes around the world that are not ideal and that mistreat people, and our response as Westerners is for some reason we've decided that we're going to deny that country resources that they need, like food, or place financial sanctions on the country, and the only people that ultimately hurts is the people who don't have the resources to survive, and that's the poor people. And it doesn't have a negative or a serious effect on the people perpetrating the crimes. So I think it's necessary to rethink our approach. And Julian is the person who in the last however many years, last several decades, has done the best job of bringing these travesties of justice, such as sanctions, such as illegal invasions, theft of resources, war crimes, torture, etc. He's done the best at being an investigator on a monumental scale and reporting that truth to the people of the world. Firstly, by actually doing the investigation, by getting the documents, getting the primary sources, which are, as an investigator, I know that the primary sources are incredibly important, and that's what he's done. I mean, he's certainly made commentary about the findings, but the real value of his work is what's the primary sources that he's built this fantastic system of WikiLeaks. to collect it from anyone who wants to send him information that's relevant. And of course that's really been idle for the last few years because he's been incommunicado, he's been held and tortured and prevented from doing the work that people want him to do. And so I see Julian as the greatest investigator of our time because he built a system that enabled sort of an outsourced investigation where anyone with evidence of wrongdoing could grab that evidence and send it to him, and then he could present that evidence to the world. So it's a really enormous undertaking that he's been involved in, and it's changed the world, and the world needs to be changed a great deal more. There needs to be a lot more investigating going on, and that's not what's happening right now because he's in jail, which is just I have the benefit of having studied law and being a law graduate, and I mean occasionally you would read cases when you're studying that you'd say, gee, that's the wrong judgment, but I mean there's nothing that comes remotely close in the modern era to the travesty of justice that this case entails. It's just anyone who really pays attention to it should be shocked and really dismayed that our societies have rejected justice and truth and decency towards citizens, private citizens of our countries, and that's just if that's how they treat Julian, how do they treat people in countries where there's little to no coverage of? So that's how Karen and I came to be here, and I'm proud to be here, and I'm really proud of the people who come here each week and thankful for them, and we won't stop coming until Julian is free.
Citizens under attack.
Friend of the workers, friend of the workers, friend of the people, friend of the free. Jail Stomo, free Assange. Jail the liar, free the truth teller. Jail the liar.
Obligation. We're all obligated.
This is the 102nd week Julian Assange supporters have been gathering at Sydney Town Hall to support the multi-award-winning Australian journalist. Julian is an entirely innocent man, being held arbitrarily and indefinitely by corrupt authorities.
For two important reasons.
The first reason is to prevent him carrying out his much-needed reveal-it-all journalism.
The second is to intimidate others. It is plainly apparent that the corrupt entities orchestrating Julian's persecution have deemed it necessary to intimidate everyone.
To dissuade all of us from doing similar reveal-it-all journalism by demonising and torturing Julian for his groundbreaking, transparency-inducing anti-corruption efforts.
Julian Assange should be free. He should have been free every day since his arbitrary detention was commenced back in 2010. Denying a single human being the right to truthfully inform humanity about war crimes and government corruption
is a crime against all of us. The cold cruelty of corrupt power is increasingly apparent.
Appealing to this corrupt system for justice is like appealing to a stone for softness. We will not receive justice until we unite to bring about a system that is capable of justice.
There is absolutely no doubt that Julian Assange is innocent, yet he is being tortured to death through the corruption of justice by cruel and powerful entities. A system that engages in torture is a corrupt one.
Decent people do not torture other people. Publishing the truth about war crimes is clearly not worthy of torture.
And many people are gradually waking up about the corruption of our system. We are all discovering the value of truth, and more of us are working to free Julian because we understand just how important truthful journalism is. As the rise of totalitarianism is becoming more obvious, we are realizing that we must resist its rise. At some point in time, we will reach a tipping point, but we must keep resisting until that time.
We must resist the propaganda and its divisiveness propagating in our communities.
We must resist the tendency of human beings to deny reality when courageously facing it feels uncomfortable. When we all resist the rising totalitarianism, we will defeat it, and we will be able to create a better world for everyone. We must all be able to clearly see that we are being systematically lied to, and that everyone is going to have to wake up.
We must be able to see that propaganda is destroying our communities.
It is important that we all help to wake each other up through speaking the uncomfortable truth. Allowing ourselves to be deceptively soothed by big media lies serves no other than the most despicable criminals who are intent on controlling everyone and everything. Every voice counts.
The house of cards will always fail, as will a system, if it is built on lies.
In a corrupt system, criminals who are dependent on lies are forced to surround themselves with other criminals who are also willing to lie. The groupthink among these criminals will be their ultimate downfall, because those adhering to lies cannot succeed in the face of truth. Corrupt power deludes itself if it thinks it can eliminate the need to recognise the truth. No one has enough power to eliminate the need for truth. We must always turn to the truth, because our ability to face the truth is our ability to take on life.
Julian Assange shed light on the forces of corruption. We just need to do more of the same.
Meanwhile, corrupt leaders are appearing more and more desperate in their endeavours to maintain control, which is making it easier than ever to see through their lies. We must have courage.
We must have faith. We must realise the best path for us is to create unity through the truth. Truth is our power. We are all Assange, and we will win this. Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange!
Free Julian Assange! Only one decision!
No extradition!
There is only one decision! No extradition! In May! Julian Assange! Our mate!
Julian Assange!
Only one decision!
No
extradition. Only one decision. No extradition. There is only one decision. No extradition. Julian Assange. Free, free. Free, free.
Free, free.
Julian Assange. Free, free. Julian Assange. Our mate.
Julian Assange.
Free, free.
Julian Assange.
Inmate.
Our mate.
Julian Assange.
Louder.
Only one decision.
No extradition.
There is only one decision.
No extradition.
Inmate.
Our mate.
Julian Assange.
Inmate.
Our mate.
Julian Assange.
Only one decision.
No extradition.
There is only one decision.
No extradition.
Inmate.
Our mate.
Julian Assange. Our mate.
We are all Assange.